14 years after the third impact, Shinji Ikari awakens to a world he does not remember. He hasn't aged. Much of Earth is laid in ruins. Nerve has been dismantled, and people who he once protected have turned against him. Befriending the enigmatic Kaoru Nagisa, Shinji continues to fight against the angels and realizes the fighting is far from over, even when it could be against his former allies. The character's struggles continue amid the battles against the angels and each other, spiraling down to what could inevitably be the end of the world. Hey everybody, I just witnessed Evangelion 3.33, and you know what that means.
And now, a conversation piece. This is The Rundown.
Finally, after more than 5 years waiting, Neon Genesis Evangelion 3.33 is finally out. Welcome guys to another epic installment here at the Rundown / Review Show on A Week in Geekdom. I am your host Giovanni Menendez, and it is an honor to be with you guys and talk about this amazingly confusing and somewhat bewildering movie. Neon Genesis Evangelion 3.33, of course, is the third part in the tetralogy of Evangelion, the rebuild of Evangelion movies. Of course, the first one and second one were awesome, and I was expecting this third one to be great as well. I went in, watched this movie without rewatching the other ones because I said, you know what? I think I got a firm grip on what this whole story's about. Boy, was I wrong. Not only was this movie extremely confusing at the beginning, characters made no sense, and I did not get my long-awaited exposition dialogue until midway into the movie. The animation is fluid, the story is pretty brilliant on some occasions, but at other times it just falls flat in my opinion. Neon Genesis Evangelion, of course, debuted back in the 90s, and I have not reviewed the first and second movies. I guess I should do that, but these movies are basically rebooting the whole TV universe, I guess, if we're going to talk comic book terms. And the first one and second one, while awesome, did a fairly interesting job of just rebooting what we have already witnessed, but in a new and slightly tweaked way. This one was supposed to be brand new territory. When we first begin, and I guess if you're watching this, you might have already seen the movie. Obviously, it's been out for ages in Japan, but I did not know anything about it. I remembered I watched 2.22 with my best friend, and I completely just forgot about it because, Funimation kept delaying the Blu-ray release. So by the time I actually picked it up, I had completely forgotten most of the plot points from the previous movie. 2.22 was a really interesting movie and ended in an awesome last minute. Those final 5 minutes of that movie are just spectacular. Now with 3.33, I was confused and I was just completely lost as to what the hell was going on. I even took notes on this movie, which I never do. I never take notes on anything I watch. I just review it out of what comes through my heart and brain, I guess, and just filled with passion about what I just saw or read or played or something. But yeah, I took notes because it was that good, it was that interesting, and I wanted to decipher just what the hell is going on in this movie. At the start of Evangelion 3.0, or 3.33 if we're going to go with Blu-ray standards, I guess, at the start of the third movie, it's been 14 long years, we awake, and it seems poetic. Because it's been more than 5 years. I cannot believe it. And I'm looking at my computer screen right now, and the second movie came out in 2009. It's been so long since that movie that it just feels appropriate that I would feel the same way as Shinji does. I don't know what the hell's going on. Nerve apparently is not there anymore. Misato and gang just went ahead and built Willy, or whatever you want to call it, the new organization against Nerve and Sele. Misato is their captain, and she's like sporting some anime-ish look or something that captains wear. But right away, that first opening sequence, and I even wrote it down, it was a really impressive use of CGI. And usually I don't say it often with anime movies because the CGI is just way too jarring to appreciate. You know, they basically look like PlayStation 2 cel-shaded models walking around. But that first glimpse of CGI space shuttle slash angel thing that was happening in space, that was really impressive. That really looked like something out of a NASA footage thing. And right away, we're bombarded with questions. Why is EVA Unit 1 in space? Why is Shinji up there? Last time we saw them, they were down below, and apparently, and I don't want to get too spoilerific, but major shit went down since the last movie. It's been 14 years. These characters have not aged due to some contrived notion of a curse of the Evas or whatever. And this, I guess, this is an iconic series. It set the standard for weird psychological anime in Japan. Obviously, the designs are magnificent. The robots look better than ever, and the animation is so crisp and detailed in such intricate ways. From the scene where Shinji's waking up to stuff like being underwater, or showing the night sky, or flowers, or rusted old buildings, all that attention to detail that we know and love from Japan is right there, and it just looks even better on Blu-ray. I was seriously blown away by that. It's a gorgeous movie. Sure, it's really apocalyptic in nature, but it's really good. Unfortunately, the characters are a little bit wacky. I have read online many fan complaints that these characters are not acting like they should. And let's be honest, it's been a huge time skip. 14 years. I cannot stress that out enough. At first, until you realize what the hell's going on, you don't know what is happening. I had no idea what was going on. It wasn't until that needed character exposition moment where they finally tell you what the hell's going on during the second act of the movie, where I went, huh, interesting. I started putting all the puzzle pieces together, but then you throw in that weird as hell third act where they're trying to get the two spears, and all hell just breaks loose. And yeah, I had to rewatch it to learn to keep up with the terminology and all that stuff. But if you're watching this, please do yourself a favor, watch the first two movies and then try and decipher this mess. I cannot imagine what the experience would be like for somebody to just walk in and watch the third one without any knowledge. This is not a movie for beginners. This is strictly a movie for EVA fans, for Meg fans, for Mecha fans, fans of deep psychological anime with characters that have tons of issues. But at the end of it, this movie basically is the end of Evangelion rebooted. Next movie, the fourth one, whenever that comes out, like 100 years from now, that will be the final conclusion of Evangelion. And for that, I'm really excited about. Hideaki Anno has built an immersive world where, unfortunately, it's been plagued by so many controversies. Obviously, with the first series, he was depressed and went through such a hellish experience writing the later portion of the show. Now with this, he's doing the recent Godzilla movie in Japan, so he took a break. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, I think that's the name. It's not coming out anytime soon, so it's a massive cliffhanger. That's one of the things I did not like about this movie. You have such a lengthy explanation for things, and at the end, yes, there is some payoff, but you don't know where the story's going to go, and unfortunately, we're not going to know in quite some time, because the movie's not even made in Japan as of this recording. You know, all the characters are there, from Asuka, Rei, Misato, Gendo, everybody's there, and they're all acting differently, and that is to be expected. It's been 14 years, these characters have gone through a lot. We haven't seen it we do find out what happens, and it's a really cool scene when you do find out, because it's really hard, it's really depressing, but in a awesome kind of way. I don't know how to explain it, but the show is like that. If you remember the old Evangelion TV series, you know that this is a world that is just hanging in there. Like, the ocean's all red and blood, and like all the sea life is dying. The earth is on limited time. Apparently the next big impact is happening if they don't stop the angels, and with the whole human instrumentality project that Gendo wants to do along with Sele and their version. And then that finale, end of Evangelion, which was such a mind-raping experience that I do not recommend anybody watching it, because I thought it sucked. I did not like it whatsoever. So I was really interested going into this movie, or going into the whole rebuild of Evangelion, to see an author take a second crack at it. Because let's be honest, not many people get the opportunity to work on something that they've already published, and if it was a controversy, to get the chance to fix it, and that is what Anno is doing with Evangelion. So I respect that. I think that's awesome. However, with this movie, like I said, going in, you don't know what the hell's going on. During the second act, you finally learn what's happening, and then during the third act, everything just blows to hell, and we start from square one. Basically, this movie undid what was happening in the TV show, but at the same time, it kept doing the same thing all over again. You know, we do get more of that depressed Shinji that I know a lot of fanboys like. But after some close examination, this movie didn't really do much. You understand that there was a major catastrophe after the second movie, and the characters are trying to fix this world, and shit happens again, and we're really close to another disaster. It has some amazing visuals, don't get me wrong, the uses of CGI on certain scenes, although on some scenes, like the bridge sequence where all the characters are in that control panel that's set up like a spinal cord or something, and it rises up as a Wundle ship, whatever it's called, is rising up in the air. It looked really cheesy and really fake, and it reminded me again of those PlayStation 2 character models. But Neon Genesis Evangelion, one of Mindbender. It's a fun movie, don't get me wrong. If you love Evangelion, you are going to love this film. If you're going in blind, I suggest you do your homework and at least watch the rebuild stuff. I don't necessarily recommend you check out the TV stuff, because that's the whole point of the movie adaptations, to rebuild this whole thing. Good luck with that. One of the other things that was played really well with this movie in regards to how they how they remade certain scenes. Obviously, we finally get more Kaoru screen time, and the piano scenes. I really wanted to talk about it because those piano scenes were amazing. And if you saw my previous video, Your Lie in April, you know I was a sucker for that. So seeing that beautifully animated, the way their hands were moving, and these two characters sharing such great it was a great opportunity to see these two characters sharing a moment of tranquility amidst a chaotic environment that is the Evangelion world. And poor Shinji. It's hard not to sympathize with this guy. Throughout the whole TV series, you hated Shinji. He is one of those infamous male leads that everybody just hates. But now, with this new one, Shinji's a badass. If you watch the first one, he has some really cool scenes. Then in the second one, Misato pushes for him, vouches for him, and he becomes like this great character all of a sudden. Then in this movie, it's a little flip-floppy. We get more of the depressed Shinji, and it's with valid reason. He has just woken up from this time skip, apparently. Everybody's furious at him. He's trying to do the right thing, and these characters are not letting him. And I sympathize with him because he's asking, like, what happened? What did I do? And everybody's just like, I don't want to talk to you. What? That's just stupid. That's just silly. I don't get it. Seriously. And then you've got Gendo with Nerve, and he's trying to do the same damn thing and not explaining anything. It's not until his friend that explains to him what the hell's going on with the instrumentality thing, somewhat, and I don't know. I'm trying not to spoil things. It's really difficult. You know, some of these characters get a bad rap. Shinji, in particular, you know, he's told, do this. He does it, it fails. Well, I'm going to do another thing. He does that thing, he fails. They're always expecting him to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't want to do this. He's been forced to do this. So I cannot sit here and say this is a bad character, when honestly, it's a real representation of yourself being forced into a world of adults and doing these fantastic, over-the-top, zany, Armageddon-type things. He's just trying to figure out life as he goes along and trying to do the right thing, trying to save everybody from this impending doom, I guess. Meanwhile, characters like Asuka, people were complaining like she's way too mean. I thought she was back to her old self from the TV show. Obviously, after waking up, the first thing Shinji's worried about is Rei. Obviously, you're going to be pissed off, so I get her anger and frustration. By the way, her Eva unit just looked fantastic. That beast mode thing, oh my god, that was just insane. Beautiful animation right there. This is the sort of movie, unfortunately, where you're required to have multiple viewings to get all the details with Sailei, like Lilith, Lilin, the angels, Kaoru. It's a very complex story that, and I get it, you don't want to spoon feed everybody with all the info, but it can be a little bit too heavy sometimes. You just need a breather. And I appreciated the scenes with Shinji trying to learn what was happening, and when he does learn, you learn with him, because it's just, it's a really eventful thing that happens, and he's trying to do good, but they're not letting him. I don't know. I wrote all this shit down, but at the end of it, I think you should watch it regardless. Neon Genesis Evangelion, I don't give ratings for movies. I just tell you if they're good or not. I think it's good enough. It's confusing as hell, but I'm hopeful that the production solves everything by the end with the fourth movie. So yeah, guys, those are some of my scattered thoughts on Evangelion 3.33, the Blu-ray edition by Funimation. Hopefully, we'll get to see the fourth one sometime before Infinity War comes out on theaters. I doubt it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. You can like and subscribe to our videos below. You can follow me on your favorite social media platform. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you next time on another installment.
Thank you for tuning in to another installment. You can keep the conversation going through your favorite social media platform. You can like and subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on Twitter, like our fan page on Facebook, and favorite our pics on Instagram. You can also write to us for feedback, suggestions, and such via aweekingeekdom@gmail.com. Until next time.
That was a horrible send-off.